Hello, everyone. Welcome to Nightly Scroll. I'm Hayley, Caronia. I hope everyone had a great weekend. I know it's been a little heavy. It wasn't a great weekend for me. I just feel like we were talking about it just before I came in here. I still don't feel like this is real. I still read headlines with Charlie Kirk's name in it, and then his name is next to words like dead, assassin. It's so mind-boggling to me, and I know it's true, but I'm still in such disbelief, and I know it's very heavy, but I am glad that everyone is here with me tonight. Thank you for watching. If you are here in the chat, it's because you're on Rumble. Rumble.com/Hayley is the only place you can watch this show in full. You might be watching on Facebook or X. Hello. If you want to watch the full show, you got to join us on Rumble. Then you can scroll with all my homies in the chat. I recommend it. If you can't catch us at 6, I get it. You can watch whenever you want on Rumble or listen on your favorite podcast platform, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your shows. Make sure that you're subscribed, you leave 5 stars, you say something nice. All of that helps. But what do we have for tonight's show? More details emerge about Charlie Kirk's alleged assassin. Vice President Vance hosted Kirk's radio show from his residence today. Also, Karine Jean Pierre, former White House press secretary under Joe Biden, testified in front of the House Oversight Committee, and admitted that she got talking points to repeat about Biden's health from the tippy top. We're going to go into that. Plus, New York Governor Kathy Hochul has endorsed Zohran Mamdani for New York City mayor. What this means for the race and for the future of the city. We are going to bring back scrolling time tonight. A little bit of a return to normalcy. We're still going to play some Charlie Kirk stuff, but I do have some palate cleanser videos, dogs, cats, things that can maybe make us smile a little bit. I feel like we need it. So put your phones on Do Not Disturb. Nightly Scroll starts now. Hosted the Charlie Kirk show today. It was a wonderful tribute to Charlie. Watch this.
Now, I have heard many calls in the last few days for unity and for healing in the wake of Charlie's assassination. You have no idea how desperately I want that, how gratified I was when Democratic friends and even former Senate colleagues reached out to offer their condolences to me. I'm so thankful. And I know there are so many like them all across our great country. I am desperate to wrap my arms around them as we all unite to condemn political violence and the ideas that cause it. Psalm 133 tells us, "Behold how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. It is like the precious ointment upon the head." Oh, how badly have I craved that precious ointment in recent days, and I believe we can have it. But first, we must tell the truth. It's the only way to honor Charlie, for what was he, if not a man who told the truth in every place, in every environment? Now, the most important truth Charlie told is this, that long ago a man, begotten, not made, came down from heaven, and by the Holy Spirit was incarnate of the Virgin Mary and became man. For our sake, he was crucified under Pontius Pilate and suffered death and was buried and rose again on the 3rd day. Charlie believed, as I do, that all the truth he told flowed from that fundamental principle. I really do believe that we can come together in this country. I believe we must. But unity, real unity, can be found only after climbing the mountain of truth.
It was really wonderful what he said about Charlie, and it's true. This was a tribute that encompassed what Charlie was all about, and that's his faith, that Christ is king, pursuing the truth, and all truths stemmed from Charlie Kirk's faith and a lot of our faiths. And Vice President Vance was joined by White House staffers, friends of Charlie. I also loved how his lower third there on Real America's Voice said longtime friend of Charlie Kirk, not Vice President of the United States, but it just goes to show that he really was touched by this, and he was hosting the Charlie Kirk show as a friend of Charlie Kirk and really was there to pay tribute to him. But, you know, Caroline Leavitt was on the show, so many others. And I saw this, well, there were so many clips that I wanted to play. I know that one is like a little long, but I just thought that it was so wonderful and all-encompassing of Kirk's faith and what he stood for. But there were other clips about Vice President Vance calling for unity and the fact that we cannot have unity with these people. These people are totally demonic. And, you know, these calls for unity, it's such a pipe dream at this point. I mean, people who are celebrating someone's death, he's right. I mean, we can't there's no getting through to these people. I feel like we should have hope that we can get through to these people. Some people are coming to the realization that these people are demonic, and I've seen so many videos of people saying, well, I can't be associated with this anymore. This is really, I was kind of on the fence. Now I'm going to vote for Republican. I've seen a lot of this, like people waking up to the fact that what we've been seeing is evil right in front of our very eyes. And, you know, Vice President Vance, I think he hit the nail on the head when it comes to these empty calls for unity. We can't, because these people, I mean, they're next to impossible to get through to. And, you know, there were other people online on X, and, you know, why are we paying attention to all these people on X, the peanut gallery? Of course, people were upset on the left that, you know, Vice President Vance was hosting a show for over an hour. Oh, like, doesn't he have anything better to do? He's our vice president. Why isn't he working? I mean, are you people insane? Vice president or not, he just lost his friend, a friend that is responsible for Vice President Vance becoming the vice president of the United States. Vance admitted him that himself when he opened up the show. Why can the left not find a shred of empathy for people who are grieving Charlie's death? And to question, how could he take the time to do this? Like, as if then sitting President Joe Biden didn't call a lid at 2 p.m. and then do nothing multiple days of the week. I mean, come on. As if Kamala Harris wasn't just a DEI hire figurehead who spent her days cackling and pretending to find the root cause of illegal migration. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm sure Vice President Vance went back to work as soon as the show was over. But can we let him grieve in the way that he wants to grieve? He spent his week and weekend with Erica Kirk, now a widow. He spoke about how his wife, Usha, was consoling Erica, how Erica asked Usha Vance, how should I tell my 3-year-old that her dad is dead and never coming back? I mean, truly, this family has been through the ringer, and the Vances were there with them, right? So show a little bit of grace. But we know that the Democrats, this is how they act, right? You know, Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, he is supposed to hold a vigil tonight for members of Congress to attend in memory of Charlie Kirk. You remember last week, House members on the floor were trying to have a moment of silence for Charlie Kirk and to pray for Charlie Kirk on the House. It ended with a shouting match between Democrats and Republicans. We know that Democrats won't be in attendance. They can't find empathy for the Vice President of the United States or anyone who is grieving Charlie Kirk. They won't do a moment of silence. They won't do prayer. This is why Vice President Vance was right when he said unity is a pipe dream. These people cannot be reached. But more details have been revealed about Kirk's alleged assassin since my last show on Friday, so I want to get through to that. This all comes as Utah Governor Spencer Cox revealed over the weekend that the alleged killer has not admitted to any wrongdoing. He confessed to his father, but not to law enforcement. So listen to this.
The suspect has not been cooperating so far, and so we're getting all of this information from family members, again people around the suspect, and then the forensic information that we have, which is confirming everything and more than what we were able to share in that initial press conference.
Not cooperating. This is odd, you know. And then why would he confess to his dad allegedly and then not confess to authorities? I don't understand that.
I don't either. And that's going to be a challenge if he doesn't open up about this. I mean, because there are things the family member obviously can, the family member's dad, pastor, relatives, everybody can obviously identify him. Maybe even they can speak to his movement left, you know, in his ideology and politics. They
have been speaking about that a little bit.
But like only he can talk about people that he was in proximity to, or maybe even coordinated with during this whole, you know, evil plot. So I hope he does cooperate with authorities. But it's sad to hear that he's not.
I just don't understand the mentality. He was saying, and I covered this last week when all this was going down, but when he confessed to his dad, he said, I'd rather kill myself than go to the authorities. And his dad was the one that brought him in with the pastor, and they brought in the U.S. Marshal and all that. So now I'm like, the details are a little hazy. I guess the dad turned him in against his will. So we don't know if this guy is the guy. I mean, he hasn't admitted to it.
I believe that, as the FBI coordinates their investigation, they need his testimony to corroborate that information. And if he's not willing to admit to the evidence that the FBI is collecting, that's a problem. Everything else is what his parents say is third party, and what other people are saying. I mean, the FBI is gathering the evidence, and he's the perpetrator. So, it's strange that he's not owning up to what the FBI is presenting.
Like, he doesn't need to cooperate. A lot of people who murder people, they say that they're not guilty, and if the DNA fits, then doesn't matter what they say. But it is odd that he's refusing to cooperate. But remember when the left, people like Harry Sisson, for example, were saying, the killer's not a leftist. We were saying, this is odd. We've seen this pattern of a lot of trans people becoming violent. We've seen a lot of this, and we just, we're just pointing out patterns, right? But the left was very quick to throw him on us, right? Like, he was from a conservative family, he's MAGA, all this stuff. So remember, this is how Harry Sisson reported this. This is before we found out that the alleged killer is dating a trans woman. Watch this.
The Charlie Kirk shooter is not trans. It's not an immigrant or a person of color or any of the premature labels that MAGA gave him before he was even arrested, before we even knew anything about him. But if you went to some of these MAGA influencer pages over the past 24 to 48 hours, you would have thought that they had him all figured out. They were saying it's some blue-haired, crazy liberal who drives an electric vehicle everywhere or whatever crap that they were saying. But they had no idea, and we have no idea. To me, and I'm just speculating here, so take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt, it looks like a case of radicalization. This looks like a young man who grew up in a Republican family in a conservative state, who had a lot of access to firearms, who found himself too deep in internet culture, going down those dark rabbit holes and becoming crazy and doing something tragic because of that insanity. I don't know if this is left-wing or right-wing radicalization. I genuinely don't know. We don't know. Nobody has any idea yet. Authorities have not said anything about it. But man, what a sad situation, and it's so frustrating to see people in this space, the political space, especially on the right, pretending to know everything about this guy and the motive. Come on, man.
Andy, did you hear anyone on the right saying that the killer was an electric vehicle driving blue-haired liberal? I never said
no.
that. I never heard anyone say that. He's like, oh yeah, MAGA was just thinking that he was a tranny and an immigrant. Again, I've never heard anyone say that. He's totally just devoid of reality. This is not what anyone was saying, especially even on the right. I did not know. I did not hear that once. Of course, Harry Sisson is walking this back now because he was saying, he posted in another video, well, what difference does it make if he's gay or if he's dating a transgender person? Well, it matters a lot, actually, because of this pattern that we're seeing. And we learned that this guy has a transgender roommate. And they were probably more than just roommates. This seems like a romantic type situation. One of the trans roommate's relatives spoke to Fox News Digital. And apparently, while the alleged killer and the suspect is not cooperating with authorities, the transgender boyfriend is cooperating with the authorities. And the relative of the trans said that he is in the process of transitioning from male to female. And whoever this woman is was anonymous but spoke to Fox News Digital about how at 18 years old, her relative, this is the trans boyfriend, was very hateful towards Christians and conservatives. He turned 18 and just kind of made a switch. She said he hates conservatives, hates Christians, and said that this trans boyfriend was not raised that way, but he had been radicalized. So this seems like a very similar situation, the boyfriend and the suspect, because it seems like they were both raised, to be not hateful, and they turned out to be very much so. So she had said, quote, he has obviously gotten progressively worse in the last year or two, and that he's always very angry. I think the suspect got a whole lot worse in the year they have been dating. They are big video gamers and obviously have that group that influences them as well as others. Maybe she's talking about the Discord group. We'll get into the Discord chat in just a bit. But she went on to say, my gut tells me the roommate did more of the influencing. So I could see this. I could see the suspect being kind of radicalized on his own and then dating this transgender person who is also very angry, hates Christians, hates conservatives. They were both basically going down this hate rabbit hole online together. But here's what the FBI is saying. So they found DNA on a screwdriver on the roof of the building that the gunman was on. They also found his DNA on the towel that the gun was wrapped in. Now, Kash Patel, FBI director, was on Fox earlier today, and he mentioned that the ATF is currently investigating the gun in Maryland. So we don't know if the killer's DNA is on the gun. We can assume that it would be, but the process is still underway, so I can't say that for sure. The FBI also revealed they'll be looking into the alleged assassin's network, because remember, he was discussing details of a gun drop-off location with people on Discord. Apparently, he was in this group chat talking about how he was kind of joking after he killed Charlie Kirk about how his doppelganger was trying to get him in trouble, alleging that the guy who killed him, it wasn't him, it was just someone who looked like him. But here is what FBI Director Patel had to say about all of this on Fox earlier. Watch.
And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to ignore the last question. Going back to the group chats real quick, there's more than 20 individuals. But this is a great point. I want to lay out how this works. People think we can just get in these group chats and immediately find out who's in them. We, the FBI, are the investigatory body supporting multiple prosecutions and ongoing investigations. And that's another point. Our investigation at the FBI is ongoing. And there are scores of people in this Discord chat room. But we have to effectuate legal process. We have to go out there with search warrants so that if prosecutors want to later use this evidence, it's not tainted by being illegally obtained. We, the FBI, are running the investigation pointedly on the Discord chat group. There are scores of individuals that are going to be spoken to. There are also lots of family members and friends that have already been spoken to. And one more point on forensics. We were able to obtain in record time the text message chain between the suspect and his live-in partner, as well as other critical cellular information from our CAS team that analyzes cell phone data towers in the area to pinpoint the locations of the suspect and other individuals he was speaking with. This is critical information that the FBI processed and got to prosecutors so they can lawfully use it in a court of law.
Were you guys looking at that video that they had, the TMZ video that they were playing next to Kash in that interview? The guy's wearing shorts.
Yeah, I'm hazy on this timeline too. I think, TMZ initially reported
because they said that he changed clothes, and the FBI said that he changed clothes, but I thought he got
after his egress. Like I wasn't real sure. He walked from what I've seen in timeline related stuff, even that the FBI has given us. He walks in his ingress into the perimeter of the campus. He has.
Can you play that shot again? You don't have to play it with sound, but I just want to see the video. The video that they're playing next to Kash is the TMZ video from Wednesday, and they said it's hours before the shooting. And I thought the guy, all the pictures that they were showing, he was wearing pants. and now he's wearing shorts. And they said that he changed clothes on the roof, but I thought he had it was maybe said that he brought the gun in. Maybe he had to put the gun together on the roof and then he took it apart again and then he put it back together again.
This is pertinent information that, he hopefully will cooperate with, but a barrel on a 30-06 is 3 feet long. I mean, it's going to, regardless of how, you can't disassemble that gun, I don't think, before the trigger mechanism. So basically you can take the butt off the gun, the wooden part of the gun, the back off the gun. So I don't think you could fit. You're going to be able to see the barrel sticking out of that. That's why some people thought he had it down his leg.
That's why I feel like this video, it's said at some point hours before the shooting, but he must have changed into pants at some point.
Correct. And then this is newer to me, honestly. Like I haven't considered him being not in those clothes, going through the neighborhood, entering the campus. So he's been in the black shirt and the jeans. I know that he has changed in, or they have images of him in shorts. I'm not sure of the timeline, but I do know as he was going into campus, he was in that attire, concealing a gun, what looks like down his leg.
Right. So I'm wondering when he changed, because he must have changed again. Anyway, there's a lot of questions. We're going to get into some more of the questions. Andy and I, if we've got anything, we've got questions about this case. But I want to get into this Discord thing because in that soundbite, Director Patel was saying that he's in these Discord chats and they have to, we have to figure out all these people and they've got to bring a case, etc. So that's totally understood. But the Discord platform is going against what the FBI is saying. They gave a statement to ABC News on Friday saying this, quote, "We identified a Discord account associated with the suspect, but have found no evidence that the suspect planned this incident or promoted violence on Discord. The messages referenced in recent reporting about planning details do not appear to be Discord messages. These were communications between the suspect's roommate and a friend after the shooting, where the roommate was recounting the contents of a note the suspect had left elsewhere." So I haven't heard anything about a note that he left. Have you?
I hadn't either.
So what is Discord doing?
Did say that they found this is where it gets confusing in the communication. They found a note that was destroyed. So
then
you
how would
heard
Discord, right,
of a note? You know what I'm saying? And that this is stuff that he's not cooperating with. So why say that if you don't have it in possession? If it was destroyed before you could look at it?
Also, the FBI, this was last week, they said that they had, and again, their Discord is saying, "We identified a Discord account associated with the suspect, but have found no evidence that the suspect planned this incident on Discord," but he was talking about killing Charlie Kirk on Discord, according to the FBI. So Discord is clearly trying to distance themselves from this by saying, well, our platform isn't the problem when we know that all these freaks of nature go on Discord. I'm not saying that Discord, this wouldn't have happened if not for Discord, but I'm just saying they certainly were on here. And there's a bunch of users on Discord who knew about this heinous act, whether it was before, during, after, they were getting details. So the alleged killer is expected in court tomorrow. And Utah, the state of Utah, confirms that he was arrested on suspicion of the crimes of aggravated murder, felony discharge of a firearm, and obstruction of justice. And he's being held without bail. Who is representing him? I tried looking this up earlier. I don't know if he got a lawyer, if the family lawyered up. Did the roommate lawyer up? Or is anyone in the Discord chats lawyering up? I couldn't find a lawyer. I couldn't find who was representing him, if anyone. I don't know. But I tried looking this up earlier, couldn't find anything. And I'm not trying to be conspiratorial, but if this guy is in custody and he's not admitting to it, is he not cooperating because if he thinks he admits to it, he'll get a worse sentencing? Or did he not do it?
Well, I think that there's DNA evidence on the towel and on the weapon.
That doesn't mean that was the weapon, though. That doesn't mean that he...
Well, I mean, I think, like, you know...
Because we need an autopsy report to know if that was the gun that was used to kill him.
We need a ballistics match.
Right.
So hopefully then... to me, that's the big thing, right? I want to know that the bullet that went through Charlie...
was from that gun.
And, you know, the best forensic people on the planet have found that bullet lodged into something behind the staging, and they're able to do the ballistics match on the 30-06 that they had found. That'll let us know that there's DNA on that bullet from Charlie. That's the bullet that hit. That's the bullet, and you know, that's the ballistics that match the barrel of the rifle. Those rifle has, you know, you're building a rock solid case there. And I mean, I don't even know if they've done an autopsy on Charlie, you know. And so, but again, like, hey, look, you know, Bongino's rule here is hold, you know, and I know these people are the best in the world at what they do, and this is super complex, and we're looking at this through the lens of an absolute media fire hose, but at the same time, there are, you know, questions.
Put yourself on camera.
Nice. He didn't go to school at UVU.
Right.
So
how did he know?
A friend of mine brought up that he went one semester at, I believe, Utah State, and then he was in a electrical sort of trade school. And so the timestamps, though, show he parks, he goes through the neighborhood, he enters the parking garage, then he enters the building. How many buildings have you been in that you know directly how to get to the roof of in minutes?
I know.
I would like to know. It's odd to me that he seemingly knew exactly how to get to the roof of the building. That's a question. Like, is there any CC footage of him at all before casing it?
I was just going to say that. I want to know if this guy had been on campus before. He wasn't a student at UVU, but they have to check all the footage for the last, I don't know, 3 months at least to see when he was on campus. You don't carry out an assassination like this and not know how to get to the roof. I mean, he knew how to get to the roof, and it took him 8 minutes. So clearly he had rehearsed this before. To Andy's point, you don't...
I mean, that's what you think. Like, I don't know how he would automatically know how to get up there. So that's like question number one. Then question number two is the misinformation or information. I don't know. I have not heard an American news outlet or anybody really ask anybody in the FBI, was the weapon disassembled at any point? Like, do you have any CC footage of him putting it together? Do you have the weapon, and have you ever had or seen the weapon in two parts? Because if you took it apart at any time after the shooting, why would you put it back together to present in its entirety around a towel in the woods?
They have his DNA on a screwdriver. And, like, how do they know that he took it apart? They just know that he got in and they couldn't see it, so they're assuming? I don't know
that we have...
Because clearly the gun had to be together for him to shoot Charlie.
Yes.
And they found it together in the woods.
Correct. So I don't know what a screwdriver was used for. Again, I don't know what telling us that information is nothing other than telling us that they found a screwdriver. But we have also had unconfirmed reports that the weapon was disassembled. And so, you know, I mean, it's, again, all of this, I know that there's really good, interesting questions.
I know. Someone in the chat just said he had help. And Andy and I had a long phone call this morning. We were just kind of like going through all these questions. And I tend to agree. But Andy had questions about why he would take the gun apart and then put it back together to just drop it. Like, if you were on the run and you just killed someone, what would possess you to put the gun back together? Like, doesn't that just waste time? If you're going to dump the gun, why put it back together to leave? And why wrap it in a towel? I mean, these are just questions that we don't have the answers to right now. I also want to know.
Well, I saw somebody in the chat here. That's a pretty good point, and I haven't seen this, and so we have someone in the chat said that Megan Kelly talked to Bongino about if the gun had been disassembled, and he said he couldn't answer that right now. And these guys
might
have
get
1,000,
yeah,
and we're probably asking some questions that they're hunting down. But these are the questions that bring transparency. You know what I mean? Like, it's answering how did he get to the roof that fast? Like, how in the world did that happen that fast, that quick? How did he know where to go? Who was he talking to on Discord? And then who did he leave the gun for in the woods?
Yeah.
That wasn't picked up by who? You know what I'm saying?
Right, because he was talking to people on Discord about a drop-off location, and was someone supposed to pick it up and then they didn't? Did they have second thoughts? Like, yeah, I'll help you. And then, oh, shoot, I don't want to be involved in this. And then they never came and got it.
So people in the chat are saying, I would no way ever show this, but like all the producers here and you guys have seen it. Like, I have this 30-06. Like, I own, it's a deer hunting gun from Tennessee. You have a 308 or 30-06. Everybody knows it. You absolutely can put this gun
Stick it in your pant leg.
your back and down with a backpack
Andy tried
on.
it.
I did this and I walked around and you had no clue. I was
you just
limping.
had a little limp, yeah.
You had no, dude. Only thing dude didn't do was put on a knee brace. I'm telling you, it
could happen, yeah.
It can happen, and you do not know that gun is down there.
Yeah, I hope we find the bullet. I don't know if we're getting an autopsy or not, because based on what the video. So Erica Kirk posted a video of her, holding Charlie's hands in what looked like the casket. I don't know how fast it takes to do an autopsy, or if it was done, or if they're not doing it. I hope that they're doing it. I feel like the public is very invested in this, and I feel like we won't really have sufficient answers if they don't do an autopsy. But again, who am I to say that? I think that would probably help the investigation. Just a lot of questions. I mean, do we know that the gun that they found was the gun that was used? I mean, I think until you...
Well, you're not going to know that until they find the bullet and it has Charlie's DNA on the bullet.
Right.
And that ballistically is matched up with the 30-06 that they have in custody. That's a big deal, and for the forensic investigation of a crime scene. I mean, it's like, I know this is like it gets into the weeds with the left, right, who's gay, who's not gay, all that stuff at this point. That's gesture, and we can talk about that. But like, there's fundamental elements of a case that's like, we need the ballistic information, we need the DNA information, we need ingress and egress information, and I know those guys are working on it. That stuff's not hard, and the public demands that in 48 hours.
I also have questions too about the timeline is a little hazy, because we know that he was in custody around 10 p.m. on Thursday. And I want to know where he went, because we see these videos of him like roaming around. We know he dropped the gun in the woods, and then he was kind of roaming around these neighborhoods, right? But the dad confronted him. So did he go to his parents' house, or did he go to his apartment that he shared with the trans lover? Did the dad confront him in real life, like face to face? I'm assuming, because they called the pastor and the marshal and all that, but none of this has been said. Anyway, all this to say, the investigation is not over. I am going to give authorities time to do their jobs, but I just hope that any and all information is released, because we do need it. I feel like we still don't have enough information about the Las Vegas shooting, about Butler. Like, there's so many things that I feel like the news cycle moves on and we let go. We cannot let this go. I want to take a quick break to tell you about Fatty 15. You know, I'm in the gym. I still need to have my joints working like they're brand new. So Fatty 15 helps me do that. I'm excited to share with you guys C15 from Fatty 15. It is the first essential fatty 15 fatty acid to be discovered in more than 90 years. Fatty 15's co-founder discovered the benefits of C15 while working with the U.S. Navy. And based on studies, we know that when our cells don't have enough C15, they age faster. No one wants their cells to age faster. We want them to age slower. And fatty 15 can help repair and protect age-related damage to cells and help activate pathways in the body that support our overall wellness. Fatty 15 is a science-backed, award-winning, 100% pure C15 supplement that comes in a gorgeous reusable jar. I have so much more energy since Fatty 15 sent me some to try, and I'm sleeping better. So if you want to sleep better, feel younger, look younger, Fatty 15 is for you. Fatty 15 is on a mission to optimize your C15 levels and help support your long-term health and wellness, especially as you age. You can get an additional 15% off their 90-day subscription starter kit by going to fatty15.com/scroll and using code SCROLL at checkout. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Well, I saw an interesting post on X, and it got me thinking because some NFL teams paid tribute to Charlie Kirk. The Tennessee Titans, Miami Dolphins, New York Jets, New Orleans Saints, Dallas Cowboys, they all held moments of silence for Charlie Kirk. And as we know, this isn't the NFL, but the New York Yankees also did the same thing. But the Bengals, Lions, Ravens, and Steelers did not hold moments of silence or reflection for Charlie Kirk. And then I saw this post on X. If we could just pull this up. I actually don't know who this person is. Am I supposed to know who this is? Or this is like a random person with a blue check mark?
I had no idea who this is. So,
but he brought an interesting point. Why are these sports teams honoring Charlie Kirk when we were told that politics has no place in sports when Kaepernick took a knee to protest police brutality? The NFL set a precedent in 2020 that, according to them, politics did have a place in sports. They were actually obsessed with it. It had a very big place in the NFL. When George Floyd died, he's a random crack addict. They bent the knee to everyone who made him a celebrity and this political talking point, this political hero. They had political messages in the end zones and on helmets. They got the end racism, the stop hate. So if they've taken the stop hate stance and they're okay with putting politics in sports, then you have to talk the talk, walk the walk, right? If you're going to do it for George Floyd, then certainly you have to do it for someone like Charlie Kirk, who actually was a political figure and much more prominent than a random drug addict. So, when it comes to a political assassination, I think that makes sense that they would have to. They set the precedent that politics does belong. So then it's got to belong, and you've got to do it for both sides, right? I don't think the NFL made these statements or moments of silence out of the goodness of their hearts or because it was the right thing to do. I think they did it because if they didn't, they would look wildly hypocritical and they didn't want to get Bud Lighted.
Also, it's just, it had a massive effect on the country. We recognize everything in the world at sporting events. The NBA is the worst league possible. They're the LeBron Jameses of the world. They're always caused into, the social justice world.
Yeah.
But I don't understand the big deal in just the Yankees did it. And I think the Yankees immediately did it, set an amazing precedent. Trump was there watching the game. And I would like to have seen all of the, it matters because that's where everyone is together. Mm-hmm. It's like everyone is together.
People in the chat are saying that the Steelers did. Well, I took this reporting from Fox News Channel. I don't watch football, so okay, good for the Steelers. But yeah, I think the teams that didn't say something, they made a mistake.
They missed a great chance to have some unity, that's the most important thing. 80,000 people in a stadium for just one moment can be like, this is a horrible thing. And as Americans, we don't want to see this at all from anyone. Yeah.
I also saw this headline from The Guardian. If you could pull up that headline. This pisses me off. The Guardian, super left-wing idiots. Utah campus open carry rule under fresh scrutiny after Charlie Kirk shooting. Okay, so this is part of the article that Utah has allowed for permitless open and concealed carry of weapons since 2021. Then in August, they passed House Bill 128, and that saying that firearms had to be concealed when on college campuses. And basically the law allowed people with the proper permit to carry them openly, to open carry, right? They're arguing that like this could have changed what happened on Wednesday. And it's getting frustrating now that certain laws around firearms are under scrutiny because no law could have prevented this. Not one. No law, whether firearms need to be concealed or not, would not have stopped someone wanting to commit murder. It's already illegal to assassinate people. The guy clearly doesn't care about right and wrong and following the law. I'm just sick of these articles, and it's always coming from the left. And they're arguing for gun control. They're arguing for these bills. And it just makes you think, I'm like, are you getting paid by someone to push this? Is it the lobbyists? Like, what is it? Is it the gun lobby? And then anytime there's a shooting, they try to push gun control and whatever it is. But none of it makes sense. Like, I'm all for you pushing whatever you want to push, but make it make logical sense. It just does not make sense. There's no law that could prevent this death. So stupid. Some good news in all of this, though, is that Charlie Kirk's socials are exploding. And honestly, I have talked to so many people that have said, you know, I didn't follow Charlie. I didn't know Charlie. People who aren't like in this space. They don't follow politics or news or anything like that. And they, I didn't follow Charlie, but I do now. Like they're locked into his socials, and there's all of the videos of Charlie have gone viral, and people are watching his debates, and it's kind of like this resurgence of all this Charlie Kirk content because people are searching his name and it's getting picked up in the algorithm. And I think it's great because people are, if they didn't know about Charlie Kirk, they certainly do now. And Charlie had 7 million followers on September 9th. Today, he has over 12 million. So he is getting a bump on all platforms. He went from 7.3 million to 9.3 million on TikTok. He went from 3.8 million to 4.7 million on YouTube, which just goes to show that his message is going to live on. And that's a wonderful thing. I am almost grateful that it is the year 2025 and everything that Charlie Kirk has done was on camera. Like, thank goodness that we have video footage, multiple angles of all of his debates and everything. Like, this is out in the open. There is no way that Charlie Kirk's name will be forgotten. His movement will be forgotten. There's no way. I mean, people are more interested in him now than ever before.
Oh, well, 100. You said something right there. I'm glad that his message will stay, and I believe that just for the sheer impact he's had on 18 to 35-year-old people all across the country. But I hope his tactic stays, which is ask me a question. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna tell you what I think. I'm gonna tell you what I believe, but we can have a conversation. I hope that's the tactic that stays, because in none of these videos circling around do you see Charlie Kirk yelling, screaming, throwing anything, pointing a finger, swearing. He's challenging people, and I hope the tactic stays. Yeah.
I want to play a video from Senator John Fetterman because he was on CNN and he was telling, he has surprised me in recent months. I don't know if it's like a broken clock is right twice a day or whatever it is, but sometimes John Fetterman, he crushes it. So here's what he had to say. Watch.
Now, last night, for example, people were complaining. They were protesting about, that's the Hitler thing. You just don't ever compare anyone to Hitler and those kinds of extreme things. Now, look what happened to Charlie Kirk. I mean, the man was shot. Now, we have to turn the temperature down. It's like we can't compare people to these kinds of figures in history. And this is not an autocrat. This is a product of a democratic election.
So you don't think that Trump is at all shattering any of the norms of democracy in any way?
I'm saying he's definitely different, but that's what America voted for. Again, I don't agree with many of these things, but that does not make him an autocratic.
I give him credit for saying this because it's true, and Democrats need to hear it, and more Democrats need to say it. The message that I wish someone in the Democrat Party had the balls to say is you can't name call your way out of this. You can't call people you disagree with racist, Nazis, homophobic. More importantly, you can't kill your way out of this. You can't attempt to kill President Trump and stop the MAGA movement. You can't kill Charlie Kirk and stop his movement. This is the turning point. And I think if we've seen anything, we've seen that Charlie Kirk's message will not die. Erica Kirk said, she's a widow and the world will hear her battle cry. You have no idea what you've awoken. The message will not die, right? And there have been 32,000 applications for new Turning Point chapters on college campuses since Charlie's death. So if this teaches us anything, it's you cannot kill your way out of this. If anything, it makes us stronger. Before we get into, there's so many things that I want to cover. I'm not going to have time. Darn it. What do I do next? I feel like people don't care about TikTok. I care about TikTok, and I mean, it makes sense for this show, but I guess quickly, I'll just say that President Trump teased that there's a deal. He teased that, a certain company has come to a deal, and that is likely TikTok. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent also said that the U.S. and China have reached a framework deal for TikTok. The app was supposed to go dead on September 17th. ByteDance, the parent company, is supposed to divest TikTok's U.S. business or completely shut it down. President Trump, as we know, has been extending this deadline, extending since January last year this year, to extend this and get a deal done. So he said, the young people will be very happy, he thinks, by this deal. That's what he said on True Social. But President Trump didn't name the U.S.-backed buyer, but it is likely Oracle, executive chairman of Oracle, Larry Ellison. And basically, TikTok is preparing to launch a new U.S.-specific version of the app, and it's supposed to be called M. They're calling it M or M2. And it's going to be phased out by March 2026, and then this new app will replace it. Unclear if this changes the app experience because the algorithm is going to be totally redone by U.S. standards. Do we have to download a new app? Do we have to make a new account? Will it all just switch over? The reason why I'm concerned with this, as you know, I am on TikTok a lot. My show is called Nightly Scroll because I scroll on TikTok. And the algorithm is important for this show. Like all the videos that I find for scrolling time, it's important. Like if I have to start over on a new app, like it's going to take time to get my algorithm back, to get all the new stuff. Like I bring you guys videos that don't go viral. Like they go viral after I show them to you, or like I'll cover a video and then 3 days later they're covering it on Fox. Like just know that you're getting it first because I scroll like a fiend on this thing and I do it for you. Anyway, so that's the update on TikTok. Can we talk quickly about, we can get through all of this, I think. I'm just going to go really fast. We're just going to rapid fire. Karine Jean Pierre, you remember she was Biden's White House press secretary. Of course, she has no idea what was going on when Biden was completely failing in the White House. She has no idea what's going on with his health or anything like that. So she did a closed door interview with the House committee, the House Oversight Committee. As we know, Congressman James Comer is leading this investigation into what went on during the last few months of the Biden administration. What was happening with the auto pen? Who was in charge? Who knew what when, basically. So this was happening on Friday of last week. And during her 6 hours of testimony, Karine Jean Pierre said this, quote, "She did not see a change in Biden's competency from 2009 to 2025.
Lie. Move on.
Okay.
I mean, what do you do if you're the interviewer and you ask her that and she answers that? I mean, do you have the right to just be like, okay, hold on, let's go back. Let me ask the question again. I know you're lying.
I mean, like, come on. Or is anyone supposed to believe that?
She was with the man
2009?
daily.
I feel like regardless if he's the president of the United States or anything, if he's an 80-year-old, wouldn't you see a difference in anyone?
We saw a difference through a television. She was there in person. I mean, think about I in no way think that this girl had any kind of talent to do her job, but like, let's stop and let's think a little bit about how challenging it is on its face to interpret what he said.
Someone in the chat said she probably didn't see a difference because she didn't see Biden, which is a good point. Maybe she didn't.
That's what I'm saying. Like, she had the hardest job. I mean, interpreting
Maybe
what that guy was doing.
Yeah, this is interesting. Also, this is according to sources to the New York Post. So, she didn't say this, but or we don't know, but this is according to the sources that she said this. But apparently she was given talking points by various advisors, senior advisors related to Biden's health and mental acuity. And those talking points were handed exclusively at the senior level. And they basically told her what to say, which that's not the like the smoking gun for me. That's how this works. Like, talking points get disseminated down from someone to the mouthpiece, and she was the mouthpiece. Like, yeah, I mean, that's how this works. So my questions are, who were the advisors coming up with the story? How much did they know about Biden's health, and how much did their story differ from the truth? That's the question that we need to know. I'm not shocked that KJP didn't know what was going on and she was told what to say. Obviously. All right, quickly, New York Governor Kathy Hochul has endorsed Zohran Mamdani for mayor. She wrote a piece in the New York Times about her endorsement, and I just want to read a little bit of it for you. She said, "In the past few months, I've had frank conversations with him. We've had our disagreements, but in our conversation, I heard a leader who shares my commitment to a New York where children can grow up safe in their neighborhoods and where opportunity is within reach for every family." And she basically said that this is the first thing that she admired about Zohran Mamdani. She said, we share our priorities, making it clear that police officers should have every resource to keep our streets and subways safe, which is interesting because he wants to defund the police. So that's a lie. But I thought that was interesting. That was Hochul's first reason for wanting to endorse Zohran Mamdani, was the fact that he respects the NYPD. Like, are you?
We sent the production crew something that showed a clip of Mamdani saying he didn't even want to put people in jail.
No, he wants to get rid of jail and police. Like, what? I thought that was crazy. So that's the first reason, which is totally a farce, for why Hochul wants to endorse him. Then she also said, "I've been glad to see him meet with Jewish leaders across the city. Listening and addressing their current concerns directly." Sorry, I can't freaking read right now. Sorry. But she said that, so the first reason was the NYPD, and the second reason was the need to combat the rise of anti-Semitism. Huh? These are two things that he is like not for. This is crazy. This tells me that this endorsement and the opinion piece was a totally calculated PR move. She's trying to undo all the bad press. Her second reason for wanting to endorse him is how well he's working with Jewish leaders on cracking down with anti-Semitism. Mamdani's supporters are the Free Palestine crowd. So this endorsement is definitely to get anyone else who is still in Camp Cuomo or Camp Adams to jump ship. Mamdani is going to be a leap in the wrong direction for New York City, and Hochul is all for it.
This tells me, and I'd love your thought on this, this is how much he is in the lead.
Yeah.
That she
wants to
is stepping towards him. At the end of the day, she's moving towards, stepping in his direction more than he needs her blessing with an endorsement. Like, just saying some of that stuff is stupid. Like, he's going to win, guys.
Plus,
it's going to be scary. He's going to win.
If you're a big politician, you wait until you know you're going to be right when you make your endorsement. So I don't think that the New York governor is going to endorse Mamdani if he's not the guy. So that means he's the guy, unfortunately. And I think she's got maybe some personal stuff with Cuomo, and maybe she has, I don't know. Like, I don't know if she's playing well in the sandbox with Adams or what's going on there, but maybe she's thinking, well, this guy's going to win, so I'm going to put my support behind him. Whew. All right, let's get into scrolling time. All right. Whataboutism is a cancer, and this TikTok user gets it. Watch.
For all of those who are asking, what about the kids in Gaza? What about the school shooting? I have a few questions for you as well. Did you post about the genocide that's currently happening in the Congo? Did you post about when Azerbaijan and Armenia were going at it? Did you post about the women in Iran and the little boys in Afghanistan? What about the famine in Yemen right now? I'm sure you had a lot to say when an Ube got shot in the head in Colombia, right? Or the cartels raging war across the border. Or the thousands of deaths that are crossing the Mediterranean Sea right now and the Caribbean Sea. I bet you have a lot to say passionately about the military dictatorships in Somalia, in Venezuela, in Cuba, in North Korea. You know, selective outrage is real, and you and I and all of us participate in it. But to sit up on your high horse and demand that people care about the issues that you want them to care about, while also dismissing that a man just got violently murdered in public, is disgusting and vile and hypocritical. And by the way, Charlie Kirk's assassination happened at a school. It is a school shooting. And we can be equally disgusted by all of what's happening in the world. But to play this game about whataboutism, I can keep going, mi amor. And you and I are both going to lose.
Right. No one wins.
Okay? So let's stop that.
No one wins the whataboutism game. Because to her point, you can keep going forever and ever and ever. There's bad shit happening all the time. Like,
what about this thunderstorm that's happening right now in the studio that's
what about
wrecking things?
No, because what about school shooting? What about this? What about this? It's like you could just go on forever and it doesn't make one thing worse than the other. Like, we can care about multiple things at once, but this just goes to show that the Free Palestine crowd has just been programmed to care about that one thing. You know how all those memes about like how they care about the current thing? They're just like NPCs that care about the current thing. It used to be George Floyd, then it was Ukraine, now it's Palestine, in a few months it'll be something else, which is not to say that you can't care about these things, but it's like a stupid game to play.
And it's never going to stop.
Yeah. It's like, sorry that I don't care about the current thing that you're obsessed with right now. That doesn't mean that Charlie Kirk's murder wasn't disgusting. Like, multiple things can be disgusting at once. Anyway, this pilot in Arizona did a little flight tribute to Charlie Kirk. Let's watch this.
Local pilot paid his own tribute to Kirk this morning around 6:30 a.m. A flight tracking software shows the pilot flew in this pattern near Phoenix, creating a cross with a C and a K. They landed about an hour after taking off.
Very cool.
How do you do that?
The pilot went, if you're listening and not watching, the pilot did a little flight tracker and you could see he did a C and then a cross and a K on the other side. To Andy's point, how does he do? I mean, that's incredible.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah. I mean, you know,
very cool.
I thought it was done by drone at first. You know what I mean? But no, that was a dude. I looked it up. That was a dude actually flying a plane and did that. That's crazy.
Very, very cool. Another trend, just going to touch on this quickly, but I would be remiss if I did not share with you this trend going on TikTok. People are posting stuff like this. It's two pictures back to back, and it's, if, you know, when I die, bury me in red, and then you swipe, and it's because I have a rally to attend. So a lot of people have been posting this, you know, when I die, bury me in my MAGA hat because I have a rally to attend. And Democrats also hopped on this trend saying, when I die, bury me in blue because I have a debate scheduled, which I thought was really, really nice to see their showing of support, that they are sharing in our hurt, that Charlie Kirk is a massive loss. Losing Charlie Kirk isn't just a loss for the right side. It is a loss for the left side too, because he really did bridge that gap and come to the middle. So I thought that was pretty cool to see Democrats do that. Gonna end on two palate cleansers because I teased that in the beginning and I do think that we need it. This is a baby laughing at a dog, which I think we need to see right now. There's no better sound. What is that, an Australian Shepherd? that an Australian Shepherd?
That dog is cute until he tears into a squirrel running on that wood fence. Shreds it to 1,000 pieces.
He's going 1,000,000 miles an hour. But I just love the sound of babies laughing, so I figured we could all hear that right now. And then this last one is 2 cats playing Heart and Soul with a little help from their owners, but nonetheless, 2 cats playing Heart and Soul. So talented. I remember
the right hand maestro there needs to figure out what key they're in.
The gray cat needs a little practice. But I thought that was cute. All right. Just wanted to end on a good note. I'm going to try to do that tomorrow and for the rest of the week. We need to get back to normalcy a little bit. I know it's very sad and very heavy, and a lot of this news is very sad and very heavy, but I think it's important that, we find something to smile at, something to laugh at. So thank you for scrolling along with me. Thank you for watching. If you were watching on Facebook or X and you came over to Rumble, welcome. Join the club. Rumble.com/Hayley is the only place you can watch Nightly Scroll in full. So I recommend that you do that. And then if you do that, you can scroll with all my homies. We have a lot of fun in the chat. Of course, listen on your favorite podcast platform, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and you can follow me at Hayley Caronia on social, and I'll see you right back here.